Hello, dear friends. There's no need for religion when there is love. As long as there is no love, there will continue to be religions. Opinion piece. Melchizedek, the New Jerusalem, land of immortals, the new human being, school of Melchizedek, home of the alchemists. Transfiguration is possible. The mountain of immortals. Adam is red and Christ is blue. Tradition common to all religions. Let's start. Melchizedek is a mysterious biblical character who appears in the Old Testament as an eternal high priest. His name means King of Justice, and he is described as King of Salem, which means King of Peace, and no details about his genealogy or his death are mentioned in the scriptures, so it is assumed that he is immortal. Melchizedek would be a priest without beginning or end. Therefore, he would have existed before the creation of the world and human beings. Archaeological evidence recorded by the figure of Melchizedek through the Dead Sea Scrolls in cave number 11. In this text, Melchizedek is described as a divine being and given the title of Elohim. Melchizedek proclaimed the Day of Atonement and redeemed the sins of the people predestined to judge. He also judged the people. The Bible, the Puranas and the Vedas of ancient India agree that Melchizedek has no genealogy. He was not born of a mother or father, and was present even before humans populated the earth. This being changes its name throughout different eras, but the essence of it always remains the same. In Hindu tradition, he is called Markandeya, Manu, son of the sun, Brigu, Pramiti, and Kalki Avatar, the 10th incarnation of Vishnu. He is also known as the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The Christ is a cosmic and solar spirit. The great initiates are those beings who were able to embody it. Jesus is the most shining example of this, as were Moses, Abraham, Krishna, Zoroaster, and many more. Therefore, Jesus is the historical person, but the Christ is a cosmic principle that manifested itself many times throughout the centuries, because he is infinite like God. Initiatic Center. Since ancient times, there has always existed on Earth a great initiation center that dominated all the others. All the minor centers were branches of this one center, whose light was never ceased to shine throughout the centuries. In metaphysical circles, the school of Melchizedek refers to a set of teachings or beliefs that incorporate elements of mysticism, spirituality, and self-knowledge associated with healing practices, personal and spiritual development. There is a tradition common to all religions that there is a mysterious kingdom in an inaccessible region known as the land of the living or the land of the immortals. This mysterious realm is the kingdom of Melchizedek, but only a few initiates with close ties to Melchizedek has first-hand knowledge of it. No initiate can reach the top without going through the school of Melchizedek. He watches over the evolution of humankind, guiding it according to the divine plan and intervening to restore order when human beings deviate from the path set for them. And he has all the powers because the 5 elements, earth, water, air, fire, and ether, are at his service. Avalon, the land of the immortals, is a place associated with eternal life. In Celtic mythology, the island of Avalon is considered as a place associated with immortality. It is mentioned in Arthurian legends as the place where King Arthur was taken after his death to receive healing. Avalon is described as a magical and mysterious island associated with mythological elements and symbolism related to life after death and healing. Avalon is a place where wounds can be healed and life restored. China. In Chinese mythology, there is the idea of Kulum Mountain as a place associated with immortality. Kulum is the home of the immortals, and some ancient texts describe it as a place where Shi Wangmu, the Queen Mother of the West, who is a figure associated with immortality, resides. Shi Wangmu cultivates a magical garden containing peaches of immortality that grant longevity to those who consume them. Kulum is an extensive mountain range located mainly in western China, although it also extends into Tibet and neighboring regions of Central Asia. The mountain itself is seen as a connection between heaven and earth, and is considered a place of power and spirituality in Chinese mythology. Some legends mentioned that this sacred mountain, which is considered the home of the immortals, you can access the elixir of immortality that is associated with internal alchemy, a practice that seeks to spiritual transformation through internal means, such as meditation, breathing, and physical exercises. Internal alchemy, also known as Neidam, is a Taoist tradition that focuses on the internal transformation of the individual to achieve longevity or even immortality. Unlike external alchemy that sought the transmutation of metals, internal alchemy focuses on the human body and spirit. It refers to the belief in the possibility of achieving a state of spiritual enlightenment and longevity through the constant practice of disciplines. It represents the internal transformation of the individual, the purification of mind and body, and the search for harmony with the Tao. Transfiguration. Transfiguration is possible for all human beings when someone wakes consciously for a long time with faith, hope, and love. His body becomes so pure and so sublimated, and all his particles vibrate with such a high frequency that transfiguration becomes possible. Alchemical transfiguration is associated with the idea of spiritual elevation and the pursuit of perfection. It is considered a process of self-transformation and spiritual development. The transfiguration can be symbolized by images such as the phoenix bird being reborn from its ashes, or the transformation of lead into gold. The Great Wake refers to the complete process of transfiguration, both on material and spiritual level. The ultimate goal is to reach the elixir of life, which symbolizes perfection and immortality. Operational alchemy refers to the real, tangible practice of this legendary art that takes place in a laboratory environment. In operational alchemy, alchemists conducted practical experiments with chemicals in search of the philosopher's stone, which has the power to confer immortality. Mount Tabor. Jesus showed us in his transfiguration on Mount Tabor that it was possible for the physical body to be transformed into light. The Gospels say that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And Moses and Elijah appeared and spoke with him. While they are on the mountain, Jesus' appearance changes in an extraordinary way. He becomes resplendent, and his clothes become white as light. A bright cloud surrounds them, and a voice is heard from the cloud saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." The disciples, astonished and afraid, fall face to the ground. Jesus approaches them and tells them not to be afraid. New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem will be built after the model of Salem, the city in which Melchizedek lives, surrounded by all those extraordinary beings of history and legend who are still alive and who, it is said, will return to the world one day. Many alchemists live there. Even Nicolas Flamel, the famous alchemist who never died, is there in the realm of the initiates. According to the narrative, the New Jerusalem is associated with the consummation of the divine plan. the culmination of human history and the presence of God among his people in a more direct and complete way. It is also considered a symbol of spiritual renewal and eternal life. In any case, the concept of the New Jerusalem is rooted in the Christian hope for a glorious future and the realization of God's promise of a new heaven and a new earth. New human being. The human being was built in the Lord's workshops in such a way that he was capable of communicating and exchanging with heaven, earth, and the entire universe. That is why its doors of the New Jerusalem must be kept open so that the currents can circulate. The New Jerusalem will descend only when human beings are new. The New Jerusalem is the new human being. They are all the new men and women who have undertaken a gigantic work of transformation in themselves. The New Jerusalem is the perfection of an initiate, a master in whom the cosmic Christ is born. And this work of transformation is nothing less than the transformation of the old Adam into Christ. From the old into the new, or put in alchemical terms, the transformation of red into blue. The parallel is very clear. Adam is the red man, who was taken from the earth, and the red man of the earth must be transformed into Christ, the blue of the sky, the symbol of peace, a perfect society in which all human beings live as brothers and sisters. The New Jerusalem encompasses all the children of God into whom Christ is born. This means, of course, that it is a perfect society in which all human beings live as brothers and sisters. And finally, the New Jerusalem is this initiatory center that has always existed just as St. John described it, with all its gold, its pearls, and its precious stones, because all this already exists in the world above, and all the truths, all the elements that exist above might exist materially on earth one day. Protection. Every human being is a temple. St. John says that the heavenly city was surrounded by a very high wall. A wall is a protection, the symbol of a powerful aura that surrounds and protects the human being. When someone possesses a powerful aura, he is protected by the radiance of his own light. The New Jerusalem is the new human being in whom everything is gold, pearls, and precious stones, and the light shines within. Each of you must become the New Jerusalem. In the book of Revelation we read, "And the city has no need of the sun or the moon to illuminate it. The sun symbolizes the intellect, and the moon the heart. Those in whom divine light and love dwell will need neither the sun nor the moon. That is, they will not need philosophy or religion." Therefore, the New Jerusalem is above all the individual human being. Secondly, it is a magnificent society, and thirdly, it is the universal church of all the world's great initiates of all the spiritual traditions. No one can stop this elevated community from coming, and when it comes, all these things will be explained and everything will be clear. When this day comes, people will not need anyone to preach religion or morals to them. Everyone will know internally what to do, how to love, how to serve, and how to work. Breaking news. Be proud that you made it through another Christmas. The demons came and you drove them back again. Has your family criticized you for being different? Stay strong, you deserve it. Robot Tesla fails and attacks an engineer in a Texas factory, leaving a trail of blood. The software engineer suffered serious injuries. The robot's metal claws stabbed him. Cosmic War. The replacement of human beings by intelligent machines has been planned for thousands of years, according to Mike Adams. Once this is understood, everything else makes sense. Predictions. CNN says that 2024 will be a critical year. It could have been much worse, but staying back from the brink in 2023 has postponed major crises until 2024. The post-COVID world is exhausted. cash-strapped, but ultimately more tense than it has been for decades. The crisis of war has been postponed until 2024. What is at stake for European security is monumental. The main measure of the West's response for this crisis was always its persistence, and this has collapsed in less than 2 years. The arrival of 2024 doesn't mean we have to dig nuclear shelters in your backyard or move to southern Argentina, but it does leave the world in a more precarious place than we have seen in decades. The good news is that the West didn't happen this year, so it may not happen next year or ever. Signs of the times. In quotes, people will fight among themselves. Nations will fight among themselves. There will be great earthquakes. There will be epidemics and famines in various places. And there will be frightful sights and great signs from heaven. Luke 21, 10, 11. In the last days, difficult times will come. People will be selfish, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, insulting, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, impious, heartless, dissatisfied, slanderers, uncontrolled, brutal, hateful of good, traitors, stubborn, swollen with vanity, loving pleasure instead of God, since they preserve the external form of religion but deny its power. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. Signs will appear in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth nations will be anxious and bewildered at the sound as such of the sea, while people with faith will fear at the prospect of what is taking over the world, for the powers in heaven will be shaken. Luke 21, 25, 26. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.